What's going on, guys? I'm Steve. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. If it's your first time stopping by the channel, hit that subscribe button. Trust me, you won't regret it. You're a returning subscriber. As always, guys, welcome back, and I do appreciate the support. Guys, listen, I dropped two videos about Desmond Mills Jr., one last night, one today after he came out of court, and I hope I gave you guys some useful information. This video right here is I'm going to talk about a little bit about the aftermath of him nationally being recognized as somebody that's working with the feds and the state in their investigation against the other four officers after he's already played out to being guilty. Now, I want to play a video that from another news station, and this video is talking about what I talked about before, but the video is about 3 minutes long, and there's a lady talking, and she says she has some interesting and useful information that I want to share with you guys. So the video's about 3.5 minutes long. I want you to watch the video, and then when I come back, we'll put our heads together, and I want to talk a little bit about what I think is going on and how I think CJ Davis is the #1 target that they are ultimately going after. Check this out, and we'll come back.
One of the 5 former police officers charged in the killing of Tyree Nichols is now pleading guilty. Desmond Mills Jr. left federal court just a little while ago where he told a judge that he was in fact changing his plea.
Mills and 4 other former officers were seen on camera kicking, punching, and beating Nichols with a baton after they stopped him for a traffic issue back in January. NBC News correspondent Antonia Hilton joins us now. So we talked about this last hour. He is the first defendant to flip his plea. What do we know about the agreement? What did he get in exchange?
Well, he is pleading guilty, and in exchange, it sounds like the federal government is going to be recommending about 15 years of sentencing. That's still ultimately going to be up to a judge, though. But what that indicates to us is that 15 years must be what they view as a good deal, meaning that the other 4 officers who may or may not be continuing forward with trial and leaving their pleas as they are right now may be looking at a lot more than that. Just to remind everyone here, these officers are facing very serious charges, including second-degree murder charges, the kind of charges that can put you behind bars for the rest of your life. Most of them are relatively young, in their 30s or so. And so there's a lot for them to consider here. But what we saw was him in court very calmly, essentially admitting to his actions here. And the indication that we received from his representatives, but also from the family of Tyree Nichols, is that he's now going to play a broader role in all of this, meaning he is going to be potentially testifying against the other officers, cooperating with prosecutors here, and that's going to impact not just this federal criminal trial, but also the civil case and the state cases.
I mean, the implication is that he would be giving valuable information, but the truth is, Antonia, this sadly isn't isolated, right? We're not just talking about this incident, and in fact, we're not just talking about these officers. We're also talking about the Memphis Police Department as a whole. What has this sort of told us about that situation, and what changes are they looking to make?
Right. Well, there is this big, essentially citywide investigation, the pattern and practices investigation. So it's going to be interesting to see the role that he's going to play. And one of the terms we heard Attorney Benjamin Crump use today was domino, that there could be this domino effect here, and he may just be the first domino to fall, which may be an indication of things to come. But this is pretty astounding, to see, first of all, officers held accountable in this way. Often you hear from communities like the one in Memphis, that is not how these stories tend to end. But then for him to be on the opposite side of his former colleagues and be prepared to give this kind of information. Take a listen to some of what the family's team shared today in a press conference.
I will tell you that what we witnessed was the most dramatic moment possible in American policing today. This is a monumental shift in policing today, watching another police officer who will testify against his own based upon a policy that was in existence.
So you hear the reference to policy and the word monumental here, because again, they're hinting at what you just said, Morgan, which is this may end up being much bigger than just these officers here, and what he's prepared to say may implicate more of a culture and sort of practice in the department here, which is a lot of what the family is going for. Their position is it's not just about these 5. There was a culture of rot here, and they want to root it out in the city of Memphis.
All right, guys, that was the news video And the lady said she gave some extremely valuable insight into why, Desmond Mills is doing what he's doing. But one thing I want to say before I jump in this, because I got 5 things I want to talk about as far as why I think CJ Davis should be upset if she's not upset already, or worried, basically. First thing, before I jump into that, what I want to say is, why Desmond Mills? Did y'all ever really think about that? It was going over my head since I made the last video. I think back on some of my videos and, make sure I got them right. And I'm just sitting here and I'm thinking. And I'm like, why did they go after Desmond Mills? They could have went after Chadarius Bean. They could have went after Justin Smith, the one that claimed, hey, I wasn't even supposed to be out there, because they were obviously the 2 weak links. And that's the thing. They were obviously the 2 weak links. They're the ones that was crying the most. One was crying, saying he shouldn't have been out there, Justin Smith. The other one, Chadarius Bean. I was being nice to him. Why can't you let me go like you did Preston Hempfield? You see that? The prosecution know that. They could have went after them easily. But they went after Desmond Mills Jr. Why do you think that is, guys? Honestly, why do you think that is? I'll tell you why. When we watch the video from a standpoint of just regular people, just looking at this video, non-police, don't know nothing about policing, don't know nothing about the policies and procedures of being a cop. What enraged us the most was you seen 2 men holding him while, he was standing up and laying down, getting kicks to the face, baton to the face, and punched in the face, which ultimately led to his demise. Now, most of the struggle and the pain was caused by 3 people. The 2 people holding him, Chadarius Bean and Justin Smith, and the one that really gave it to him the worst. And I hate to use that term like that, Emmett Martin III. Those are the ones they want. That's why I keep saying there may not be any more deals let loose, because the way the feds is, if we get one of y'all, a lot of times we don't need the other ones. The other ones don't have no value. Now, let me get something straight. Somebody left this in the comment. Let me, and shout yourself out, man, that left this in the comments. Somebody said that, they all can get deals. It's not, I explained it wrong. They all can get offered deals, but they're not going to be the deals they want now because somebody done already flipped. So say they might say, hey, I'm going to name her name, such and such, you're going to get 30 years. We'll settle for 20. That might be the deal. But none of them will be less than 15 or at 15 because he was the first to flip. Desmond Mills Jr. I told you the one that usually flips gets the highest incentives of said flip and gets the least amount of time because he's the one that jumped off and, to save himself. So I wanted to say that real quick. They may get deals and they're not going to be favorable. They're going to be high sentence deals. This is a game they play in state, and it's a game that, they play other places. Now, that's the first thing, right? That I wanted to bring light to. Now I'm going to get into this thing with CJ Davis, right? Well, let me get into the second thing real quick. I almost forgot. I almost went off topic about why they picked Desmond Mills Jr. That's the first thing. He wasn't one of the 3 that originally was there, beating on him, had him on the ground. When they could have arrested him, he wasn't one of the 3. The main 3 that excited the anger and ire of everybody that watched was those 3 men. Smith, Bean, and Martin III. So we'll clarify that. When he came, and like Mo Roy said, he's out of all of those ones, he was he did the least. He wasn't as bad as the other ones. Meaning hitting somebody with a baton to bring them down and stuff is acceptable police work. The way they said it. Don't hate me, is what they said. You know, he came in, did something, and left back out. So that's why they came at him. He was there at scene 2, and that'll be their anchor and eyes and ears on the ground to say those other 3 did it. That makes sense, or it doesn't to you guys. Now, I'm going to jump into this stuff with CJ Davis because I'm telling you, the flames of this are going to rise high and they're going to rise fast. Desmond Mills Jr. flipping like that will carry significant weight and will create panic with the other 4 officers, and it will also make people upstairs uneasy from the heat of said flames. Now hear me. The first thing I want to say, the first reason why I say heads are going to roll, number 1 is this. These officers have been doing this for a while. Yeah, lawsuits on top of lawsuits on top of lawsuits out there. They had to let people go out of jail and prison because the testimony of said officers has been deemed unusable. That is a public embarrassment to the city that has a high crime rate and claiming they're trying to resolve it. This does not help. And a lot of people don't like looking stupid when things like this happen that are officials and supposed to be leaders to common folk. So that's the first thing. Somebody's going to be blamed. The lady in the video, did you hear? She said 2 things that keep bringing up: policy and culture. Policy, the rules and way something is run to be efficient. You know what I'm saying? And culture, the way these things are carried out that are deemed acceptable, even though they may be controversial. Who's the one who's in charge of policy and culture signing off on it? You guessed it, the top cop. Under scrutiny again. I think they will make her, I ain't gonna say the sacrificial lamb, because this is something she brought. It's something that she said, hey, this'll work. Probably use it as a ploy to get hired. This falls on her. I said this from the beginning. A lot of people got mad because I kept coming at her. We're going to keep riding this thing, man. She not out the woods. Number 2, hear me on this. I want you to listen closely. The civil rights pattern and practice investigation, Desmond Mills Jr., a member of the Scorpion team, which she birthed herself, is going to be the poster child for what? Reform. Why? Because he's known, done stuff, seen stuff, and can, already admitted his guilt and could admit to other things because he's been around the situation, he's been in the culture, and he knows the policy. He knows stuff about her that she knows he knows. And other people, lieutenants, everything. This guy right here, the way they put him up and spoke about him, you could see they're setting him up to be the battering ram to knock this whole thing down in Memphis, to expose the corruption. He knows things. Cops speak amongst themselves about what they did that didn't get recorded. Who turns the cameras on? Who turns the cameras off? This guy can solve a lot of cases of police brutality, being on the prosecution side and in the investigation, aiding in the investigation to help him possibly get what? More time off. Facts. He got nothing to lose. That brings me to the third point. He has nothing to lose. Hempfield has nothing to lose, but everything to gain. Hempfield's only dealing with this because he don't want to be on that $550 $1 million lawsuit, civil lawsuit. So he pled, hey, he didn't plead. He said, okay, listen, take me up lawsuit and I'll work with y'all. He in the clear. He ain't got nothing to lose. Now, this guy right here, Desmond Mills Jr., ain't got nothing to lose. He done pled guilty. Now, what you going to do? When you sign that deal, it's in stone. The only thing that's a dice roll is the time he's going to get. But he's at peace with the level, you know, the scale of where the highest and the lowest. He's at peace. He would, if he wasn't, he wouldn't have signed the deal, y'all. He wouldn't have signed the deal. And that's the thing. They might have told him, hey, yo, this is favorable for you. You might not get 15 years, depending on how much you help us and how much we can get accomplished. Oldest trick in the book, man. Oldest trick in the book. They're going to use this dude as a battering ram and using to where, you know, I ain't going to say they use him up. They're going to get every ounce of liquid out that dish rag called Desmond Mills Jr. They are. It's just how it is, normal tactics. I'm missing something. I don't want to lose my thought, but I'm missing something. Like I said, it's a civil rights investigation. Who broke more civil rights than anybody else? Scorpion team. Other police officers. He knows other police officers. He was on the road. He knows when they go to certain neighborhoods, they look at certain people as less than. I wouldn't be surprised if a whole thing came out where they would say there's a lot of racism, it's a lot of all kind of other craziness in the Memphis Police Department because they got somebody there that was on the front lines that can expose everybody. And this goes higher than the Scorpion team. Does that make sense to y'all? This is a very serious matter. They're coming for C.J. Davis. Another thing, here's the last point. Antonio Romanucci and Ben Crump specifically said her name. 2 separate occasions, I think it was 3 separate occasions, in that press conference at the end today. Romanucci said her name, saying, hey, she's on notice. People like C.J. Davis is on notice. And what did Ben Crump say? He said her name. He named all those different places she was at and named the names of the people amongst other cities. He named what they call the people, these specialized units. And her track record will be brought up. Raleigh, Atlanta. There's a reason, guys, that they wanted to dismiss the whole civil suit because the civil suit turns into what? Little things web off and turn into their own thing, like the civil rights pattern and practice investigation. That's not federal, that's state. Now all these different investigations are popping up. They don't want her to take the stand. Hey, just dismiss this. This is stupid. Those were rogue police officers who were that practice a policy and a culture by a police chief that claims she's not one. See the game? I'm telling you, this thing right here, it's going to be big, man. You know, you keep saying it's going to be unprecedented. If you look at the DA and you look at the prosecutor, they were sitting there cool as a fan. Prosecutor was in the back, not even looking at the camera. When they said some questions that Mulroy was about to answer, prosecutor said, it doesn't really matter right now. Because they know they got what they got. They're planning something bigger, and it's going to go up the chain of command, and this flames are going to burn the feet of certain people, and they're not going to be able to dance off the goddamn floor. You hear what I'm saying? Check it. Watch. Policy and culture. I'm just saying. An attack on Memphis policing culture is what this is all about. And they're going to use him as the poster child for breaking the case wide open. I would not be surprised if by the end of this whole thing, with what he said, the sentiment of what he did and all this other stuff might change in the public somewhat. Because they'll play it like that. Just something to think about as this thing goes forward. Now, these officers go to court on Monday. You know, I'll be covering the story, and I'll be coming out with more stories as this thing moves on. I'm Stock Market Steve for the Dynamic Reason channel. As always, like, comment, share, and subscribe. I will see you guys in the next video. I know it was a lot. I hope you guys learned something, and it got you guys thinking a little bit. Tyree Nichols family, will get justice as well as him. May he rest in peace. I'll see you.